Hello and welcome to Cadwell Park. One of most of these riders, you'd have to think, their favourite tracks on the British racing calendar, be that any club racing or the British Championship, as we see has Sutton fly over the mountain. I am Riley Davis, your commentator, joined by Jack Hammer in the commentary box. It's been a while since he's been with us. I think the multi-motor Ride 6 finale between Henry and Ducksworth at Brands Hatch, but we bring you live then to round 4 of the Sport Bike Cup, where we have some big news coming up for you guys in a few minutes time. When we wait for this qualifying session to end, we will get that news to you regarding the next season of the Sport Bike Cup, or might not be known as the Sport Bike Cup anymore. But great to have you back in the commentary box, Jack. I've shown you a few clips there from the season the season so far, and how insane it's been. Some big drama, some big penalties, crashes and battles. So Cadwell Park, do you feel like with the GSX-8R and ZX-4R being obviously the much more dominant package over the R7, which isn't even being used in this race meeting, which one do you think will be stronger, and also who do you think will be the contenders for this one?
So, nice to be here, first of all. I'd say in the first half of the lap, the Suzuki's definitely going to be the fastest because it's naturally got a bit more power, more torque. But then when it gets to the really twisty stuff, especially the back part of the track, which Finley is just at now, all that change of direction, all that really slow and stuff, that's where the Kawasaki is getting to its stone. So I think it's going to be a tale of two halves. Maybe in the races, the Suzuki can pull out, and then once you get to the gooseneck, I think that's when the Kawasaki will close back in. So it might be probably a battle of slipstream, battle of wit, but Ducksworth, Henry Mark, and not to forget the championship leader in Finley and Armag as well. So I think they're going to be your 4 main contenders.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Ducksworth, I'm not sure if he's practiced for this one. He's not been racing as frequently in this as we found in the Multi-Moto Championship. Sorry for saying there isn't an R7. We have what is essentially a factory R7, a made in Japan R7 of Willie Sham. He featured on the GSX-8R at Brands Hatch, led the majority of that wet race, and unfortunately crashed in the penultimate lap at Tees. But the R7, Jack, we talked about this before the race, the qualifying session went live. It's by far not the choice, and you may have heard us if you've seen the few rounds before, talking about how it's just there's no point getting on it at all, is there?
No, handling wise, not a bad bike. It can turn well. I'd say it can stop all right, but it's just got no grunt at all. Once you do get into the 5th, 6th gear, it can pull much higher top speed. So maybe at like Northwest 200, it might stand a chance. But when you X in any of the corners, you try and whack the throttle on, and it'll high side you, even though it doesn't feel like you're getting as much power as the Kawasaki or the Suzuki. But the thing is, the Suzuki's a lot more deliverable, more power to the ground. The Kawasaki's got so little torque, it can just blast away. So it's all like the Yamaha's got too much. It's got maybe not enough horsepower, but too much torque to balance it. So yeah, out of any hairpins, the thing just can't pull. It's give or take between 3 to 5 tenths off. But at this rate, that is the difference between probably winning and off the podium. So it's something you can't really afford, especially in this kind of championship with such strong competition as Henry Mack wobbling over the whole bend, and he loses it the front at the hairpin. Very easy to do.
Yeah, a very easy one to do, especially in Ride 6. I find a lot of people struggling there a lot more than they did in Ride 5. The curb maybe just being a little bit hard to get aggressive over, as we see Henry Mack go for another lap at the top. And now this is someone who, unbelievably, despite taking more pole positions than anyone, if I remember correctly, and more fastest laps, he has not won a race yet. So 4 rounds in, he's got really unlucky at Donington Park with the unfortunate collision at the national layout. Round 2, he was involved in that spectacular battle at Brands Hatch, and unfortunately also lost out on that one as well. finishing in third due to his penalty and because he was just in that crazy battle with Finley, your championship leader, who is now 26 points ahead of Ross. See, here we are, Ross the Scot. He was your winner on the MLD Kawasaki ZX4RR, which might be the bike of choice here at Cadwell Park. It seems to be the most popular bike out there. But yeah, Ross, he's got a championship challenge on his hands. We weren't quite expecting it, to be honest, going into the season, but given that performance at Miami Court, he did a fantastic job to just stick with Finley and allow him to make the mistake into that chicane, and has now got the bit between his teeth with 3 rounds to go to try and close that 26-point gap. But a gap that big, how do you close it with such a small grid as well?
Well, as someone who has closed a 24-point gap in 3 races, that was with double points, but I still would have done it without double points. Essentially, you've just got to pray that momentum swings your way. You've got to win every race. That's the way you can apply pressure. And you've just got to pray that the pressure results in some big mistakes. Now, the problem is, I feel like Finley could make a load of mistakes, and the punishment's not going to, the punishment's only going to be he probably finishes off the podium. Whereas in my case, when Daniele unfortunately made a mistake, his mistake went from winning to being 9th and being on the podium to being 6th, which was a big chunk of points. Whereas in this, really, you can go from winning the race and you go to 4th, so that's going to be 12 points, which would be still a big swing, but you'd have to hope for that more than once, which can happen, but it's unlikely. So if I was Armag, simply try and win every race, pray that, well, not pray, but you've got to try and put Finley under enough pressure, they make some mistakes, and that can cause him to come back. It's like Pecco and Quartararo, so Pecco had much more laps and a bigger spread of field. So it's just all about pressure, it's a mental game. If Finley knows he can just finish 2nd in every race. So I assume his goal will be try and win. If he can't win, he'll finish 2nd. So it's that simple, really. But it's all momentum, it's all mental, and it just depends how the things swing. I mean, if Finley finishes 3rd every race and Armag wins all of them, then he's champion. So it could be that simple, but things never go that simple. Yeah,
precisely. And speaking of simple, Henry Mack putting in a fantastic lap early on in the session. Oh no, sorry, late on in the session. Time goes fast here at Cadwell Park and in these qualifying sessions. It doesn't help that we don't get the timer unless we press pause. So Henry Mack then goes to the top of the session with a 1:31.78, fantastic lap time from him on the ZX4RR, proving that ZX4 seems to be the bike of choice here at Cadwell Park. But a great effort from Willisham actually to put that R7 into 4th on the grid at the moment. Only 0.03 of a second rounded up to Ross on the back of that front row. So Ross quite a ways off in terms of lap time at the moment, but if we look at Multimoto Ride 6 Championship, the one run by Alfie Cox in the past, be it that was on multiple different bikes, but from what we can analyse from that and what we can remember, Jack, you feel like Ross, he's not much of a qualifier, similar to his fellow Scot John McPhee in his Moto3 days, much more of a quote-unquote Sunday man, and gets in the rhythm, gets in the battle, and really deals with the pressure well.
Yeah, I mean, trying to remember, was it Armag who nearly won in Laguna? Just because he was the only one who stayed on?
Yeah, I believe it was.
So, I think it's... To win races, you don't have to be the fastest, you just have to be the best, or the smartest, etc. And, well, I mean, if you can and we've seen it, I mean, you can think of many riders over the years where they say, if they could qualify, they'd win. And, maybe that's just the case for Armag. And when you qualify at the front, you can then follow the leaders, and when you follow the leaders, you can learn things quicker. So, it all ties in. So, and plus, if you practice enough, you get the right level of consistency, blah blah blah. And if he is practicing well, which looks like he is, it's paying off.
Yeah, Ducksworth just struggling there as we now take a look at the qualifying results. We've got Henry Mack on pole position once again. Can he finally convert that into a victory? I feel like Henry, he's got a much bigger points gap to deal with after a DNF at Magny Court last time out. He has got to have the most perfect end to the season. But behind him, Finley Cottenham on the GSX-8R, and then behind him he is in a Kawasaki sandwich with Ross the Scot on the final spot on the front row. But Willie Sham, a good job on the Yamaha.
Yeah, not bad. Considering the MR is the weakest bike of them all. Qualify 4th is a good job. Only 0.8 off, so he was on a Kawasaki Suzuki, probably on the front rail. But, you know, do the solo 7 out there and be up the front, that's pretty good going.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And that promised announcement coming your way. Here we are. It is breaking news that the now known Sport Bike Cup is going to convert to HFSBK, which is it stands for Henry and Finley, of course, and then Superbikes, because this championship is run by Henry Mack and Finley Cottenham, which is funnily the top 2 in the championship before Magny Core. You feel like obviously being the most competitive between the two. But yeah, that is going to become HFSBK, and they are going to introduce a new premier class of superbikes, as you can see there. And then some more updates will come later as to a support class in the next round. So we're really excited, and based on what we saw in Multimoto, Superbikes gave us a fantastic show at Brands Hatch, and we're going to be interested to see on how much of a difference machinery is going to make, because machinery has been a big part of this Sport Bike Cup. And you don't even have to watch it to just know how different, as long as you play Ride 6, you know how different they are in terms of all the regulation and upgrades. So it's going to be really interesting. But enough about the Superbikes, back to the Sport Bikes. We're here at Cadwell Park. The race is getting underway with 3 rounds to go. What can Henry do? Will it finally be a win? We're underway, and it's a great start already from the championship leader, Finley Cottenham, with the grunt of that parallel twin GSX-8R, shoots into the lead and has Sutton following suit. The Kawasaki's being swallowed up as Willie Sham is now up into second on that number 66 red R7, looking to prove us wrong already, as he now looks for a lead. There's a great start, Jack, from Willie Sham, and has Sutton as well. Now Henry Mack all the way down to 5th even. How does he go about this? How does he manage his race and manage the pressure, as he can see Finley already pulling away ahead of him?
He's just got to do what he's doing now. He's into 3rd place, and now he's got to just be patient. He knows he's got the pace. He sees Finley in front of him, as he now knows Allmark's made a mistake behind him, so he's got clear air. He's got to try and get past has Sutton and then Finley, but he's got the pace, he knows he has. The Kawasaki, it's a very fine line. You can be on the limit and then you can be on the floor, and there's a bit of a lag spike as well. But Henry's just got to stay calm. It's a 9-lap race around Cadwell Park. Very easy to make a very silly mistake. Just takes 1 meter too late braking or 1 meter too early, blah blah blah, and you're on the floor. So keep up the concentration, don't make a mistake, and keep the riders in front under pressure. And he's got the pace, so he should be able to find a way through using a bit of slipstream.
Yeah, Has Sutton is off to a great start. He didn't have the best of qualifying. Oh, a big moment there on the way into the hairpin, and really doing a great job. Clearly pushing that number 83 GSX-8R as hard as he can to catch up to Finley. But yeah, a great start, and clearly one of those riders who just gets on it and gets going so well, and one of those who struggled. Ross getting caught up in a bit of argy-bargy at the start of the race. And oh no, I didn't even realise there, Willie Sham going down at the start. Oh, Henry's onto the grass, caught the inside curve. That's an easy one to do, as we now see how Sutton trying to get into the slipstream. We haven't seen him this competitive all season long, so clearly put the effort in here at Cadwell Park, a track he enjoys, and showing similarities to what we were saying about Ross being a Sunday man. Of course, this is a Monday, but the race proving to be Has Sutton's strength. He tries to put pressure on his fellow Suzuki rider. Finley has got a job to do, and that's trying to secure the championship. Excuse the abrupt camera changes, just trying to find the best angle. And remember that this is Ride 6 and not MotoGP 26, as we continue to watch that Power Slide-esque Suzuki ahead of us. Starting to pull away now is Finley, maybe just getting a bit more comfortable, but Henry has got a job to do to close that gap back. How do you recover after a mistake?
You've got to just reset, forget the mistake ever happened, and I can tell Henry's pushing while that Kawasaki well over its limits to try and push. This problem when you've got a horsepower disadvantage, you've got to try and extract everything, and I think Henry's just trying to extract it too much out of everywhere. He's just going to ride to the bike strength. It's not going to be fast in a straight line, but it's going to be really fast in the corners. and he's rushing the corners, he's turning too early, etc, etc, and he's making too many mistakes. So this is what's causing Ross to catch him off. He's turned too early in some corners, he's hit the curb and sent him offline. So he's just got to try and remain calm, even though you can see Finley clearing off in front, but Henry can just... Oh, that's a big crash.
What a shame there. Armac going down. He is a big contender in the championship, and you feel like it's already going down the drain with that one. Willie Sham trying to recover and pass Harrison after that unfortunate second half of the first lap. Finley Cottenham now putting in the pace and dropping as certain, and he got so lucky with that start there. Didn't get involved in any shenanigans. Henry got caught up on the straight going up the hill in a right old duke out in slipstream between the fellow Kawasaki riders Ross and Ducksworth. Sorry, no, Ducksworth's on a Suzuki. Ducksworth clearly just jumping in for a bit of fun on this one. Hasn't done much practice, otherwise he'd be right up there. Loves Cadwell Park, does Ducksworth. Had the lap record on the Superbikes in Ride 5. As we now come up to the famous mountain, not getting as much airtime, these sport bikes, but certainly a few riders getting the bikes nice and airborne. But he's doing a great job at the moment just to stick there and run his own pace. He's got enough time now as Finley runs wide there again at the hairpin. Seeming to struggle there, but yeah, as I was saying, he's got enough time to just wait for a mistake perhaps from Finley, because Finley could just relax, you know, and that can either go against you or for you.
Yeah, when you've got the fastest bike, in theory, it means you don't have to ride, like Henry's now having to ride 100%. Finley can probably ride at 98. So that's why he's a little bit more comfortable, doesn't make as many mistakes, but he's probably making a mistake at the hairpin, because that little crest, when you flick right to left, can shake the bike a bit and just unsettle the bike. So it's not surprising to me that maybe he's just taking that hairpin a little bit cautious, just to make sure he doesn't throw it down the road as Henry did in qualifying. But Finley, he's probably just managing the gap, making sure he's staying tidy. He's just... I can tell he's trying to hold on, use the slipstream, but he didn't use the slipstream on lap 1 for some reason. He was like he was trying to stay away from the slipstream, which I found a bit odd. But you know, he's using Finley as a marker, and that's helping him. Whereas Henry's best 33.2, and he did a 31.7 in qualifying. So something's a bit of a miss here.
Yeah, that is a real shame for Henry. Something has definitely gone wrong. Might just need that extra confidence boost throughout the race. Half a second penalty as well. So things not going right, but Sutton has closed something in that chicane. He seems to be really strong in the second half of this lap, and then Finley brings it out in the first half. But yeah, as you were saying, I think maybe might have just been he was seeing some lag, has Sutton, and as we all know, the milestone games, you can never know when you get brake checked by the connection issues and you end up getting sprung into. So it might have just been trying to stay out the slipstream for that reason. We don't know what was happening on his screen. We just have this one to go by. But Tom Kelly, aka Tleon, doing a good job there on his ZX4R at the moment on the MLD bike in 4th. A lot of these riders have been very busy racing SDPG, which you'll hear me commentate on. Oh, yeah. Oh, I was surprised he stayed on that. Yeah. Willie Sham, he had that moving all the way out of turn 1 and all the way into turn 2, and then even nearly turn 3. That was a real shame for him. Oh, that was a massive moment there, but Harrison trying to attack Ross now with a 1 second penalty. He does like his penalties, Harrison.
Was it 2 point something seconds in Magny-Cours? I think he was one of the last ones to actually get a penalty in this race, so it's a mild improvement, but unfortunately he still needs to work on it. But Cadwell's dead easy to exceed challenges, you know, the chicane they're coming up to. Super easy just to cut both insides, bang, you get 2 3/10. Yeah,
and here it is, that deadly chicane in question. We've seen many crash here over the years in real life and in esports, and all penalties as well. Things can go very, very, very wrong at that chicane. As we now come to the mountain where things can also go very wrong. And we then go for the rest of the track, to be honest. Cadwell Park, very easy track to crash. And it's one where you can't break the flow. Otherwise, it can all go wrong. Chris Curve, for example, is one where if you mess up that entry, go too tight, you can end yourself right on the floor on the exit of the chicane. But we're now watching Ross get on the slipstream and trying to get that final spot off the podium. ahead of Tilly, and he thought about it into turn one. That would have been a brave move. It's a really fast uphill left-hander, sorry. And then we go to a right-hander, a long right-hander, and on these bikes just waiting for so long to get on the throttle. I mean, you're still on the throttle, but you're waiting to open it more. It's those corners can really trick you out sometimes, and the greedy riders get punished big time at such a long corner.
Yeah, Charlie's 1 and 2. It's just a matter of being patient. It's like it's maybe a bit like Buccini at Mugello. You got to just be patient on that throttle, wait for the right time, or like counting your turn 3, just those kind of corners. As Henry has closed in, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, this top 3 starting to separate one way and close up another. Might have just made a mistake at the chicane, got a small penalty. He's not let the gap go too much as Finley Cottenham goes wide, probably just managing his pace, not asking too much at the moment. As look at this, Henry trying to get alongside on ZX4. That's a brave move into Hall Bends, but he's made it work. Fantastic move from Henry as he now gets in the rhythm and sets his sights on Finley. That was fantastic. Previous lap for him was a 32.5, and then for Finley it was a 33.2. So that's a big difference in lap time, but he's got a 1 second gap to contend with. And well, when you compare it to Finley, a 6/10 gap. So some work to do then from him. Currently riding with a broken wrist. We've been hearing tales of him riding one-handed, and Finley Cottenham has got that wrong. We were just saying about how the greedy riders can be punished if they get too aggressive on the throttle or brakes or turning even into that second corner, going uphill and back down it. And now that's invited Henry Mack right back into the action, and possibly has Sutton as well. Henry looking for a move into Park, not quite yet. Might just be biding his time. He's desperate for this first win. He's been in a battle with Finley before at Brands Hatch, might know what to do. And here he comes. That's an aggressive move into the gooseneck. That's incredible from Henry Mack, showcasing the speed we saw in qualifying. And Finley goes back for him at Mansfield. That was aggressive, pushes him back out wide and makes him know why he is the championship leader by a strong margin. One mistake from Finley can mean Henry is firmly back in the championship battle. And here comes Henry looking for the move. That would have been so amazing if he pulled that off at turn 11. A better run, more stable is that ZX4R on the mountain is what I'm seeing. But Has Sutton can definitely get back involved here, but Henry has to get going, has to get ahead of Finley and get cleared off, because he hasn't got time to keep messing around with this penalty. Compared to Finley at 5/10 now after this lap, with only 2 laps left.
Yeah, we talked about earlier about how pressure can change things. The moment Henry got to second, Finley made a mistake. And here comes Henry up the inside, using the slipstream into turn 1. Beautifully done. He's blocking the line for Charlie's 1 and 2 now. If he could just not touch the grass, which he's done. And now here comes Finley with the slipstream as we head down towards Park. Sure, that Suzuki's going to close in. He's gaining. He's going to be alongside for the braking zone. Can he make the move stick? It looks like he will. But Henry's going to cover the defense. He's blocked the line. Finley retakes the lead.
That was truly amazing. The power of the Suzuki GSX-8R clearly overpowering the ZX4 at the moment. How can Henry respond though? Can he put the pressure on Finley to try and force him into a penalty? Is Finley going to bother though? He won't know about how big Henry's penalty is. Is he going to keep charging for this win? I think he is. He's in it for the battle because he knows how comfortable the lead he's got, and especially now that Ross is further back. Looks like Has Sutton's made a mistake, because you definitely feel like he would have been closer given how much shoulder to shoulder action Finley and Henry have been putting each other through now. The two organisers of this championship on separate machines going head to head once again for the last lap. Duckworth unfortunately disconnects, a poor round for him. But here comes Henry into the hairpin. Getting close. Finley taking a wider line once again through there. And now into barn. Dress rehearsal time. And now it's over. There's no more trying things out. There's no more testing for the next lap. It's last lap time, and here comes Henry in the slipstream, responding to the power of that GSX-8R. The inline 4 goes through. Finley's gone down. Oh no, he's gone down again because he's collected Has Sutton on the apex. Big mistake there for Finley, and with him going down in turn 1, down with him could go his championship certainty. He's down all the way to 5th behind Ross. Contact with Harrison, who's got a 3.5 penalty. Ross has got a 9/10 penalty, so work to do for him to get back on the podium. But Jack, we were just saying about how important it is that he has to stay on it. Oh, that could be the perfect thing now for Henry to retake a chance at fighting for this championship.
It swings and roundabouts, we said in qualifying, how small mistakes can cause big things to happen, and Henry making a move again, and just Finley just made a mistake, and just like that, Henry Mack could be back on in this championship fight with 3 rounds to go.
Yes, he now makes his way over the mountain somewhere. He's looked very strong all round long. There he goes, perfectly stable. This is a great ride from Has Sutton, to be fair to him. Half-second penalty, really stuck in well, no mistakes really.
Only sounds back to 6.
In there. And oh wow, yeah, he's crashed again. Oh goodness me, this is huge for the championship. Thanks for that, Jack. It's a bit harder to tell for ride 6, but capitalising on that devastation for Finley, Henry Mack wins at Cadwell Park. Wow. We have a statement saying that the superbikes are on the way, but are we really going to want them? The sport bikes offering fantastic action. Once again, you can't miss any of these races. And now, 2 rounds left to go. Henry closes a sizable amount on the championship leader. That is huge, Jack. And it is Henry on the top step.
So, into this race, it was 30-point gap. Assuming the point system's just normal GP point system. I'm not quite sure what it is, but if it is, Henry's closed it from 30 to 14.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. And in fact, you're seeing these parallels to the MotoGP Championship, how Marc Marquez has destroyed all claims, saying he's completely done, he's not winning the title, no way. And in only 2 rounds, flipped that on its head and nearly half that gap, and we're seeing that now from Henry. 30 points to 14, something that is definitely doable in 2 rounds. But how does Finley go about this? He can still finish second to Henry in these last 2 rounds and win the title, but it'll be a fine margin, and one that he wants to make sure of doesn't happen. So for example, at the next round at Brands Hatch, he could be sat in second and maybe again going for that win a little bit more aggressively, because he has no idea how that is going to happen in Donington Park. Excuse Harrison Day talking a load of rubbish there. The one person that I forgot to mute had to be Harrison. But yeah, I'm trying to remember what I was even saying there before I was rudely interrupted by Harrison, the penalty king. Yeah, it's fine margins though that he'll win the championship by if he does finish second. So do you think he'll want to solidify that, or he's going to just try and play it as solid and clean as possible?
Well, it depends what the mental state is. Henry's got all the momentum now, and the pressure is now firmly on Finley's shoulders. So, well, he's got a week to get his head right, and he should work out. The first thing you got to work out, okay, second is where I need to finish. But mentally, you need to think you could still win every race. If you go for the win, you could always just fall back for second. If you aim for second, that's when you risk you can fall back to third and whatnot. So you got to just try and keep that same mentality. But it is hard, especially because it's like the moment Henry got into second, that's when we saw the mistakes start to creep in. So he can't let that happen again at Brands in the final round. So it's all, like I said in qualifying, it's all a mental game.
Yeah, my
if you let your brain do things that it shouldn't do, it can have really catastrophic effects, and we've just seen that. So if that happens again, Henry will be leaving the championship.
Yeah, and of course that will be Brands Indy next time out. We've already had Brands GP, and then we go into Donington Park GP. And joining us just in time, in fact, in the call is Henry McCartney, aka Henry Mack, of course, on the game. Thanks for joining that one, Henry Mack. I'm sure you just thought that the stream was finished, but as a true journalist, I suppose, in fine fashion, I'm going to have to snatch you away for an interview. That was a brilliant ride. Looks like you had a bit of difficulty at the start on the grass, big penalties in fact, but you played that one off really nice and came out halving that gap from 30 to 14 points. How about that one?
Yeah, that was a really tough race. You know, off the start I got bullied up a bit. I think I dropped back to about 5th or something. but then I just had to work my way back up. The first few laps, Finley and Haz were putting in the shift. They were gapping me quite a bit, so I just had to get everything together and try and catch them. That did include running on the grass a couple of times, but in the end, I did do it. Once I got past Haz, all my sights were on Finley, and it was a good battle until, unfortunately, he crashed on the last lap. But after that, it was just a case of bringing it home.
Yeah, well, a fantastic job to you. And of course, now with 2 rounds to go, how do you go about these next 2 rounds that you're now back firmly in the championship fight? And that's another win with a broken wrist. It sounds pretty horrible, but I think at this point, a broken wrist seems to be good luck for you.
Yeah, hopefully I can carry that on into the next 2 rounds of this championship and hopefully Moto4.
Yeah, well, let's hope that you get back for the next few rounds after Snetterton and go well. Well, thanks for joining us. Thank you for your time in that amazing action-packed sport bike race at Cadwell Park. Of course, you got the graphic up there announcing that the Superbikes are on their way next season, and then the updates on the other support class that will be coming to this championship will be announced at a later date in the next round at Brands Hatch Indy. Thank you for joining us, and make sure that you are here for Brands Indy. But just one more thing actually before you go. Finley Cottenham, the championship leader, has joined us in the commentary box just in time for an interview. Finley, a really disappointing race there for you. You led a fantastic race, but unfortunately it all went a bit wrong on those last couple of laps. But still, a solid championship lead, 14 points with 2 rounds to go. Manageable. How do you go about the rest of the season, and how do you think about those last 2 laps?
Honestly, I'm so annoyed. I'm beating myself up so much. I really messed that up. I could have won that, and I ended up coming last because I lost my head completely. But I just need to learn better for next time. Not to lose my head. Stay calm, relaxed.
Well, yeah, that is exactly the way to do it. The champion method, I suppose you could call it. And nonetheless, still collected some points. 6th place, not exactly the worst place to finish. I suppose getting lucky that there wasn't that many riders in the end of that race. But still, 14 points the gap, and definitely one to fight for. Good luck to you for the rest of the season. And hopefully, again, everyone can join us for the rest of the season. Make sure that you enjoy the last few moments of screen time the sport bikes get in this championship, because it is going to be an electric final 2 rounds now that the championship between Ross, Henry and Finley has tightened up. Thank you for joining me, Jack, and hopefully you'll be able to join us for the next one, because this is going to be a fantastic end to the season at Donington Park.